Over the past several years, some faculty had been chatting about the idea to copy our student candidates weekends in order to do faculty candidates weekends. And over the past year, we decided to make the leap and do a big experiment to develop a new way of interviewing potential faculty, and we called it Faculty Candidates Weekends internally. Externally, we called it Collaborative Group Interview Events.
The week consisted of chunks of time, about 2 days, when we invited a set of candidates to come in, 8 different candidates for faculty positions, and they would come in and do a range of things, both individually and collaboratively. So each candidate, for example, both taught an example class and also observed another candidate's example class. Each candidate worked collaboratively with another candidate and with students to develop an idea for a course. Each candidate gave a talk about the kinds of externally facing work that they did. Each candidate took part in a sort of team discussion about what worked well and what didn't work well in the weekend. The underlying idea of this Faculty Candidate Week was that we wanted candidates to come in and experience what it was like to be at Olin. We wanted candidates to come in and demonstrate how they would perform on the different kinds of things that we would do together were they to join our community. And we wanted candidates to actually get a real feel for what the culture was of the institution.
It was important to us that every candidate feel very special, and we did not want this to feel like a competitive event. When they arrived on campus, everything we did was deliberately made to build relationships among these people. We talked about this event as being like a conference where they would be able to meet the top people in so many different areas, so many different disciplines, so many different fields of study. On the second day, 2 candidates were asked to lead a course co-design with a small group of students and faculty. The goal of that session was to see how the 2 candidates might work together and leverage their different strengths and their different backgrounds to create an entirely new course that they would co-teach in the future. You know, the fact that these course co-designs were so fun, I think helped the Olin spirit shine through, and it helped sell these people on what it would be like to work at Olin.
I think one of the real high points was the informal student candidate interactions. So there were a bunch of times when the candidates and like 40 or 50 students were just hanging out in the library, and then like candidates like doing knitting with students, or candidates talking to students about things. That was great.
Having students at a faculty search event is really important, because who these faculty candidates will ultimately be conversing with, teaching and interacting with are us, the students. So having students there is classic Olin.
I learned so much about the ways that faculty and students interact on a daily basis, not just in classroom, but between classes on projects, as part of their larger kind of student life experience. And I got a sense from so many of the faculty with regard to the way that this university is student-centered and thinking about their experience for not only what they're learning, but how they're developing kind of as a whole person.
I feel like I was effectively and fairly evaluated, and that happened in both directions. Like, I also had the opportunity to effectively and fairly evaluate Olin. The way that this process was different than a typical academic interview illustrated the differences in the way Olin approaches education versus a typical academic institute. So it felt self-consistent in that way.
I think they came in with a lot better understanding of what Olin is, and excited about that, and sort of ready to commit to that. And they're great hires. Like, I'm super excited about the quality of people that we've been able to recruit.